So I wanted to talk about some of my favorite flies just really quickly for inshore species, snook and tarpon specifically to start. This week I threw the sea deucer. I absolutely love the sea deucer, and I love it for several reasons. It's super easy to tie. It's some saddle hackle and some tinsel and a good hook, some thread and some glue, and you can tie as many variations as you want. You know, I tie these in just all kinds of different colors and color variations, blues and blacks, yellows. I go with some natural colors. My favorite for sure of the sea deucer is just red and white. You know, you find flies in red and white, lures in red and white. Red and white is just a fish catching color. So this is a sea deucer equivalent to what I started with this week when we were fishing snook and tarpon. And this is the one I took off at the end of the day after the first day. So yeah, they're gonna get a little bit beat up, but they're an inexpensive fly to tie again. And the other quality I really like about them is the volume of hackle on them. They land really softly. So if you're in an area where the fish are a little bit spooky, you can throw these flies into those little mangrove pockets or throw it in front of a laid up fish and it'll land really quiet and it'll sink down real subtle. So sea deucer, great fly. I know people use it for all kinds of purposes. I love it for snook and tarpon. I absolutely love it for those, well, baby tarpon specifically. Another one of my very favorites for inshores, it's my own tie, but it's just a variation of gotchas and things. Here's a very tiny one. I call it the bonefish stimulator. It's just basically it's a gotcha, and I tie it with a really fine hackle, a hackle you would find on trout flies for dry fly stuff. And I'll wrap the hook, I'll wrap the abdomen with that hackle right there. And sometimes I'll trim the bottom down flat, but I'll still keep a wing on it with some tinsel and a little bit of tail. And then I'll tie them with a variety of different weight eyes, different sizes of bead chain, even some little lead heads. And I like to use some gold or silver bead chain. And if you really want your fly to look good, I'll actually take my bead chain and I'll go throw it out in the yard and leave it there for a year. I'll throw it on my wood pile back at home and I'll let it rust. And you get that really kind of reefy, crusty color to it, and it just looks like it belongs in that environment. And then lastly, for permit, I like different shrimp and crab patterns. This is the raghead crab. I usually fish this in a tan color. I keep it in green and tan when I fish permit. I don't have any tan ones here, and there's a reason for that. I've used them. It's a wonderful fly for permit. I've caught almost all my permit on that pattern or variations of that pattern, as well as a few spawning shrimp. But those are kind of my go-tos. You can see I got lots of flies in here, and there are different times when I have to go to the little tiny stuff, when you get into very selective bonefish and things like that. And then, you know, real big stuff like this, when you get into some of the bigger tarpon that are looking at bigger baits, and, you know, and just the long and short of it is what they're eating is trying to hide. So the colors of these baits and crabs and shrimp generally match the environment. So you keep that in mind. So if you're on a white sandy bottom, fish bright white sandy looking flies, because that's what the actual little critters that they're eating are going to be looking like. So those are my favorite flies. Tie, buy them, but make sure you have a good stash of them, because once you do get a favorite and once they start eating it, you want to make sure you have plenty of them.